Hi everyone, it's Elicia, and today I'm going to cover how to heal your inner child and what that means. So there's a lot out there on inner child work. That term I don't often use. Inner child work is very vague. It could mean so many different things. Anywhere between playing, so that could be inner child work, to drawing and doing things that children typically enjoy doing or would do, somersaults, things like that. And then there's healing your inner child, and that's what I'm going to cover today. First of all, if you've watched my previous videos, you have realized at this point that you do need to heal your inner child because of all of the symptoms that you're trying to heal from is pointing you to the wounds that are still needing to be felt and healed from childhood. So I'm going to discuss first the difference between your inner child and other parts of yourself that aren't really who you are. There's different terms that I use and other people use that I'm going to cover now. So there's the inner child. And the inner child is that part of you, it's often related to the vulnerable part of you, that part of you who has all of your feelings, your true feelings, your wants, your needs, the magical inner child, the spontaneous inner child, the playful, free child. Those are all parts of the inner child. There's also the wounded inner child. So the wounded inner child is what it says it is. It's that part of you who has felt hurt, who has trauma, experienced trauma, and who still needs you to heal from those experiences. So your inner child can be all of those things. So I refer to healing your inner child and healing your wounded inner child interchangeably. So healing your inner child is healing the wounded parts of yourself, and when you couldn't have felt what you needed to feel, when you were made wrong for having feelings, for having your wants and needs, for expressing your true self, for being your true self, for just being you. And so who you truly are sometimes gets pushed down and away and denied and made wrong. And so a part of healing your wounded inner child is going to be reconnecting to other parts of who you truly are. So you're going to be connecting to not only your hurt feelings and expressing them, but you'll also be embracing parts of yourself that were rejected, that is who you are, your authentic self, your true self. So your wounded parts then responded by doing things to feel safe, loved, and these things that you had to do became your adaptive self. So I'm going to be discussing all of these parts and in the healing process in the upcoming videos that I'll be doing, but I just wanted to break down these terms for you so you can start to understand them and you can start to see what is false and what is adaptive versus what is true and real for you. So you may, and I'm going to go over the signs of a wounded inner child, but you may think, and sometimes people when starting to do this process to heal your inner child, that your inner child is mad at you or that you are not doing it right, and your inner child is beating you up And that is not true. Your inner child isn't doing those things. That is your adaptive self who became a protector for you. And a protector, and the protective part of you is false, but was needed. But then it becomes, it gets in the way of your healing, basically. So the adaptive self can be a judging part of yourself, the inner critic, where you had to be perfect in order to try to feel safe and loved in your family. It could be that part of you, the adaptive self, the false self, could be a people pleaser. So you can recognize what is an adaptive self with seeing, like, if you're always looking for approval outside of yourself, that is coming from your wounds, and that is your adaptive self, where you will do things based on how people respond to you or what they want from you, or what they want, and you always agree because you want to be loved and accepted and try to feel safe. And that's what you had to do in childhood. So all of those are false. You can start to recognize your adaptive self when you are not true to your true feelings, wants, and needs, and you're more concerned about what other people think, or you are actually always not feeling that you're doing enough, or you aren't good enough, and you're beating yourself up for not doing it right, or achieving some goal or that you never can achieve, or you never feel good when you achieve your goals because it's never enough. So that's all coming from the wounds to heal within yourself. So a lot of this you won't recognize, or you may not see within yourself. You may think that some behaviors that you have or how you relate to yourself and others is who you are. So I want to keep reiterating that this process really needs to be supported by a professional, because the adaptive self feels real, because that's who you had to become, and you don't know what is being denied in your shadow, because you had to deny it and push it away, and all of that, it needs to be revealed over time as you do this healing process, and supported and reflected by a professional. So I just want you to start seeing these signs for yourself of what is false, what is coming from your adaptations, so you can see that there's still more healing for you, and what your inner child still needs from you. And you may have not really connected to your inner child on an emotional level yet. And that takes time as well. There could be things in the way of you truly connecting to your inner child's feelings. There's coping mechanisms. There's codependency. So the ways that you distract from your own feelings can get in the way from connecting to your inner child's feelings. And that's normal at first. And you will need to start to see what is getting in the way from you connecting to your inner child. I work with clients over many months sometimes before they truly can connect to their inner child's feelings. So this isn't an overnight process. It's not something you can do on your own. So I just wanted to set the realistic expectations for healing your inner child. So for now, take out your pen and journal as we continue these mini workshops, and write down what are signs of your wounded inner child who still needs you to heal from your past wounds and reparent yourself to be what you needed as a child. And that's what this whole process, the core emotional healing process, is about, is healing your inner child by validating your inner child's feelings, so you can fully feel and express what was repressed in childhood, your feelings, your truth, your expression. And then to reparent your inner child is to give yourself the unconditional love and acceptance that you needed that you didn't get, and the ongoing support of your emotions. So knowing how to support yourself emotionally is also a part of this process, a part of your healing, and a part of you reconnecting to your authentic self. So beginning with seeing what are signs that you are still living from your wounded inner child. If you are, like I said, looking for approval outside of yourself, if only, you're, the way you feel good about yourself is outside of yourself, that is a sign. If you're lonely, if you can't be alone, if you only stay in even dysfunctional relationships because you're afraid of being alone, that you're dependent on other people to feel okay. If you're confused, you feel lost, you don't know what to do, how to make decisions for yourself. If you look to other people to make decisions because you don't trust yourself, you're disconnected from your intuition, your true feelings, wants, and needs. If you're a perfectionist with how you look, how you present yourself, your work, if you have to always get it right, if you're afraid to say the wrong thing, if you have to package things to be more just not be confrontational in ways where you have to just be nice and so other people like you. If you're concerned about what other people will think if you say something or if you write something, if you're placating, always having to be kind of the peacekeeper. If you are completely unfulfilled in work, in your relationship, if you know that you're settling in any of these types of relationships at work, in friends, with family, in your relationship with your spouse or partner, or boyfriend, girlfriend, or if you just are always complaining or you feel hurt in your relationship as well. Like I said, a people pleaser, codependent, just going with what other people want. If you can't say no, if you always have to just please other people. Codependency often is referred to with being in a relationship with an alcoholic. That's typically where it came from, is the codependent and alcoholic relationship. But it doesn't just pertain to being with an alcoholic. Codependents are people who are always there for other people at your own expense. So if you are just giving and making sure other people are happy at your own expense and not taking care of your feelings and ignoring how you feel, then you're a codependent. If you're always attracting and staying in unsupportive relationships, narcissistic relationships, where it's one-sided, where it's always about them, and they are not there for you, but you're always there for them, similar to being in a codependent relationship, but you seem to always be with people who aren't supporting you. It's a sign of a wounded inner child that needs you to learn how to support yourself emotionally, and then learn how to be supported in relationships. Other signs that you may not relate to a wounded inner child is when you're always struggling to make money, where you feel like you can't support yourself. You have low self-esteem, low self-worth, you don't feel valuable. In a way, you feel like an outsider, that it's just not for you, that you just can't get what other people get, that you can't have what they have. It's just, you don't have what they have. That's a sign, that's a symptom of a wounded inner child. If you are easily triggered, if you're If you are very reactive, where someone could say anything and it hurts you, so you get easily hurt or triggered. If you have a lot of addictions or any addiction, what I find is that if you have one addiction, you typically are addicted to many other things. Even if you give up something like alcohol and you've been sober for 16 years, I've worked with clients who then are addicted to many other things. So it's not really about the thing that you're addicted to, it's about what you're using to distract yourself. So it can be even overworking or even being there for other people. You're addicted to proving yourself, achieving, sex, obviously alcohol, cigarettes, drugs. It could be addicted to spiritual practices. It could be addicted to eating clean and perfect. You could be addicted to cleansing. You could be addicted to healing. So many things. Emotional eating and eating disorders. So if you binge on food, that means you have a lot of emotional wounds that need to be felt because you're using food to comfort yourself instead of feeling your feelings. And bulimia and anorexia also come from your wounded inner child. If you have chronic physical symptoms, so you may have found me because you have chronic physical symptoms that you've already tried physical treatments for and nothing has worked because you know at this point that it's emotional. So digestive problems and rashes and yeast infections, BV, UTIs, throat, tonsils, all kinds of physical symptoms are emotionally based. Autoimmune disorders, Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, so many things are coming from your wounded inner child who's expressing the wounds through your symptoms. And my last video I talked about how your body doesn't lie. And that's why your symptoms are a gift, because your symptoms are showing you that you still need to heal your wounded inner child, and you still need to feel your repressed emotions that are expressing themselves through your body. If you have learned to deny your emotions and you are not connected to your feelings from childhood, they will express themselves through your body. And also, of course, depression and anxiety and other these are emotional conditions. So if you have anxiety, if you have chronic anxiety your whole life, that is coming from your wounds and also your repressed emotions and your repressed anger. You don't feel safe because you have unprocessed trauma, and then also you may have depression, which is repression. And depression, there's many sources of anxiety and depression, but those are signs of a wounded inner child. And there's other things as well. So write yours down, and these are just, you can think of them as your inner child communicating to you that your inner child needs you now. Your inner child still needs you. Even if you've done a lot of healing, there's still more to do if you're still dealing with a lot of these symptoms and patterns. So write them down. Let me know. Feel free to please like this video and comment and let me know what you're still dealing with that you would like help with. The next video I'm going to go into more of the process of how to heal, but this one is really important to recognize these different parts of yourself that you can connect with and can continue to connect with on an ongoing basis that have been abandoned and neglected. So your inner child and your feelings and your true feelings and wants and needs are all there waiting for you to connect with and express and fulfill in life. So thanks again for joining, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you and sending you all lots of love to you and your little ones.